Alibaba's stock jumped 6% this week, and the reason was one AI model. Qwen 3.8 Max, announced just behind Claude, and released only 2 days after a rival's model rattled the entire market. Alibaba's own team calls it second only to Anthropic's Claude Fable 5, out of every model they benchmarked internally. That claim is the headline. What's underneath it is a much longer story. Qwen 3.8 Max is genuinely huge, 2.4 trillion parameters, built as a sparse mixture of experts, and the first Qwen multimodal model to ever cross 1 trillion parameters at all. It reads text, images, video, and documents, and ships with real tools built in, a code interpreter, web search, web page extraction, even image search, all callable through a standard, OpenAI-compatible interface. The context window is enormous, and it's real, 1 million tokens total. That splits into roughly 991,000 tokens of input, up to 131,000 tokens of output, and a reasoning budget of up to 262,000 tokens on top of that. On Terminal Bench 2.1, a benchmark for real command line tasks, Qwen scores 86.6. Anthropic's Claude Opus 4.8 scores 84.6. That's a genuine win, not a rounding error. But on ZapByteAI Pro, actual software engineering work, Qwen scores 67.7, while Claude Fable 5 scores 80. A 12.3-point gap. Alibaba's own announcement does not lead with that number. Put those together and Alibaba's own ranking holds up in a narrow sense, ahead of Moonshot's Kimi K3 on several of these benchmarks, and just behind Claude Fable 5 overall. Both true statements. Neither tells the whole story alone. That Kimi K3 comparison matters because of timing. Moonshot released Kimi K3, a 2.8 trillion parameter open-weight model, just 2 days before Alibaba's announcement. The timing here is as much the story as the model itself. Kimi K3's launch had already unsettled markets and revived a familiar worry in the West, that Chinese AI labs are closing the gap faster than expected. One analyst told Bloomberg that investors keep underestimating Chinese models because of chip restrictions and skepticism, and that the gap is narrowing quickly. Here's what Alibaba has not shown. No active parameter count, the number that actually decides real-world speed and cost, only the total. No model card describing the model's limits or its training data. No license. No third-party validation from independent benchmark trackers like Artificial Analysis or LM Arena. Just Alibaba's own internal numbers. And self-hosting this yourself is not really an option yet either. At 4-bit precision, the full model is around 1.2 terabytes. A single top-tier NVIDIA H200 GPU holds 141 gigabytes. You would need roughly 9 of them just to hold the weights, before a single query runs. Even Alibaba's own published training data has a warning buried in it. Their reinforcement learning scaling curve peaks at 0.725 accuracy near 4,000 training environments. Then it starts declining after that, not a smooth line up and to the right. So here's where that actually leaves things. Out of the numbers that decide what this model actually costs, who can legally use it, and whether anyone outside Alibaba has verified the claim, at least for a still unknown. One reviewer who tested it put it simply, try it for $6 if you're curious, don't build your roadmap on it yet. A 2.4 trillion parameter model, with a real win, a real loss, and real blanks Alibaba hasn't filled in. Subscribe to ZapByteAI for what's actually running under the